And it's time for a change! Come and take your best shot!
Well, I think it's time I take my best shot. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jimmy Faluca reporting along with Frank and our newest guest, my good friend Larry Ortiz. Fellas, how are you this evening?
Doing good. Not bad.
All right. We have a lot to talk about tonight, fellas, and as sometimes it may seem usual on this show, it is not good. Mount Jimmy is about to explode, so fellas, I have to request, I need you to give me a few minutes to let everything I have to say off my chest. You know, I promised I wouldn't rant on a particular person, but after what I saw at Battleground, it's time for the gloves to come off. Well, even though I don't have any gloves on, who gives a fuck at this point? Okay. So basically, what everyone is telling me, and I'm saying this with a smile because I can't believe people with actual thinking ability are saying this to me. People are telling me I should just be grateful that Kevin Owens has a job with the WWE. Yeah, I should be happy he just has a job with them when he's a better performer than more than half the guys that you have. Let's see, you want to take a guy like Kevin Owens and compare him to The Miz, who has main evented WrestleMania and looked like a complete joke. There's no comparison. Kevin Steen makes The Miz, who main evented WrestleMania, look like a fucking joke. I don't care how much of a dick I come off as. He makes John Cena look like a joke. In terms of psychology, in terms of in-ring ability, in terms of talking ability, in terms of relatability. Because if you can relate to John Cena, then you must be fucking Superman. Because I don't know a regular person walking the face of this earth that can relate to him. And what aggravates me to the fullest as a fan is realizing that I was wrong. And every bad emotion I'm feeling right now is my own fault. You guys your ears aren't playing tricks on you. I'm admitting. All the bad feelings I'm feeling right now are my own fault. Because I actually thought that this was a fucking company that was all about building its fucking future, rather than being stuck in this rut that they've been in for the last 10 years. Yeah, I know. Just another YouTuber running his mouth about a business he isn't in. I don't have to be Steven Spielberg to know whether I like a movie or not. I don't have to be a member of Metallica to know that I didn't like certain albums. But I can't critique what I see in this shit because I never laced up my boots. Sounds a little stupid from where I sit. I am challenging everyone within the sound of my voice that I've been killing myself to get back because I've been sick all goddamn weekend. What was the justification behind the finish to the United States Championship match at Battleground? I would like to know what is the justification for it. Because I can tell you the justification that I was provided with for the finish to their match at Money in the Bank. John Cena's merchandise sales went down. So they got spooked, and they had John Cena win. And I was fucking pissed off. Because I'm thinking to myself, you took a guy who went over clean, and you made him lose. And then everyone was telling me, oh, Jimmy, don't worry. In the rubber match, Kevin Owens is going to win that United States Championship. And all this shit that they did for the U.S. title is going to pay off, and it's going to be put on another guy. And then not only does Kevin Owens lose that second match, he taps out. And for 24 hours, all I kept hearing, oh, what are you complaining about? He's going to end up winning the title at SummerSlam, 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 SummerSlam. That's all I fucking heard. He's not even wrestling for the United States Championship at this point. Instead, he's going to be in a match with Cesaro. Fellas, is this the same company that thought it was a great idea to have Batista win the Royal Rumble in 2013? 2014, I'm sorry. 2013 was even worse. They had Cena win it. Is this the same company that had all of their fan favorites chucked out of this year's Royal Rumble like banter fodder by The Big Show and Kane? Must be. Because why the fuck would I expect anything to be any different? This was inexcusable on so many different levels. Not only do you take a guy in Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, whatever the fuck you want to call him, a guy who's been putting on good matches since he got there, who has been delivering in the ring, delivering on the mic, and delivering in merchandise for so many fucking years. All I heard from people who bitched and moaned and complained about people like myself who cannot stand John Anthony Felix Cena. The reason he's on top is because of merchandise. The reason he's on top is because he gets 100% of the reaction. Let's see. Does John Cena get 100% of the reaction? Yes, and 50 to 60% of it is negativity. Daniel Bryan, on the other hand, gets 100% of the reaction, and it's positive. No change. CM Punk got 100% of the reaction. No change. CM Punk outsold John Cena in merchandise. No change. Dean Ambrose did the same thing as CM Punk. For a shorter period of time, but he did it. And what did they do? They did everything in their power to make Daniel Bryan look like a loser, and with some people they succeeded. They took CM Punk, realized he was getting a little too over, selling a little too much merchandise. Let's turn him heel. And then with Dean Ambrose, what did they do with him when he started outselling Cena in merchandise? They had him lose. Again. And again. And again. And again. Didn't win a one-on-one match until I think it was Payback. On pay-per-view.
These sound like all conspiracy theories.
They're not conspiracy theories, Frank. They're exactly what fucking happened. And now we get to Kevin Owens, who is the latest example of why the WWE does not have new stars. They don't have any stars on the level of Cena. I can't even say Orton, because Randy Orton is not on the same level of John Cena in terms of booking. Because I guarantee you, if Kevin Owens was in a freaking series of matches with Orton, he would have won the feud. Let's see. How many guys can I go through that have hit their heads on this glass ceiling that some people think is imaginary? The Nexus. Very promising group. That angle probably could have went on for a while and make a couple of new stars. They didn't even make it through one match with Cena.
Who Edge and Christian even said that was wrong.
And you mean Edge and Jericho?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, taking the next step further, you take Ryback, who, even though not the best worker in the world, but the guy was fucking over. Going into WrestleMania 29. And what did they do? They had John Cena FU him. And I'm not calling it the Attitude Adjustment on this show. I am sorry. This is not a politically correct show. I am calling it what it is. It is the FU, a parody of the F5. He FUs him through a friggin' ambulance, and you don't hear from Ryback for a long time until he ends up with Curtis Axel. Yeah, that did him a load of favors. He was elevated. Then you get to Damian Sandow, the poor bastard, who I don't care what anyone says, has all the fucking promise in the world, has talent, good athlete. He wins Money in the Bank. Cena works with a bad arm. He loses, and there's no follow-up. Just like Ryback, just like the Nexus. No follow-up whatsoever. None. And then he's doing parodies, being made a joke of. And when he finally breaks out of it with The Miz, he's back to doing parodies of the Macho Man, which was in poor taste. And now he's back to doing nothing because of the whole Hulk Hogan situation, which we'll get into later. And then we get to Bray Wyatt. Oh, this is my favorite one to revisit. Fellas, do you believe that there are people that actually say Bray Wyatt was better off after his feud with John Cena?
Oh, yeah, everybody finally recognized him.
Yeah, what do you say, Larry? Bray Wyatt was so much more better off after feuding with the monster John Cena, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I could see him headlining out of WrestleMania after that. I mean, that's exactly what we want to see, is people who lose constantly fighting for the title. Because that's how you write a story and build character.
Not only did Bray Wyatt get beat by John Cena twice. But the one time that he did win, he had to use Harper, Rowan, some light work, and a child in order to win. Because Bray Wyatt, who beat Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble, who has the only clean pinfall victory over Roman Reigns, which he achieved at Elimination Chamber, against the Shield, but he wasn't good enough to beat John Cena.
His reward was to jump to Undertaker WrestleMania.
The way I look at it is this, and I can't say anything because I said that I thought Bray Wyatt should have won.
They put him in an impossible angle. You're not going to have him Undertaker lose 2 in a row at WrestleMania.
That's because the match should have never happened. They should have just did Taker and Sting and put Bray Wyatt against somebody like Randy Orton, who would have had no problem doing the job. But again,
and if I may chime in there, and like with Bray Wyatt and Undertaker, it was a no-win situation for a lot of things. I mean, but honestly, and I was there. I mean, James agreed. I agree with James. Undertaker, really should have won that match. Should have lost that match because Bray Wyatt. I mean, the streak is already over. What damage could a loss of WrestleMania do to Undertaker
at this point? No. No damage.
Has an amazing legacy and career. And you can't take a loss to Bray Wyatt. Definitely wouldn't have hurt him. But yet, again, you can't throw the new cow on the phone. So that's what happens.
Well,
I don't agree with that. It would have hurt him because then it would have made him look washed up. I think, okay. And if that was the case, then
like Larry said, it was a no-win situation.
Then what you would have done. Then what you would have done is you would have had a great story to build from that. You could have had Undertaker on a quest to redeem himself. You know what I mean? But see, the problem is it's called protection. You're supposed to protect the new young.
And the problem right there, Frank, is they haven't done that. And the best example I can give for Bray Wyatt not being protected, 2 weeks after SummerSlam, after Jericho came back for the sole purpose of putting over Bray Wyatt, what does the WWE do after Brock Lesnar completely does what all of us have wanted to see done for a long time, and that's take John Cena in his hand and smack his bitch ass around like he is a nothing? Because in my mind, that's what he is, a nothing. He doesn't belong in the same class as The Rock in terms of being an entertainer. He doesn't belong in the same class as The Undertaker in terms of being a character. Doesn't belong in the same class as Kurt Angle as far as being a worker, and he doesn't belong being mentioned in the same breath as Stone Cold Steve Austin in terms of being the face of a company. Because when Stone Cold was around, I know how much some of you hate when I use this term, Stone Cold was universally over. I can't think of a time where Stone Cold was booed when he was being portrayed as the hero. Never once. And like I said, not to get off topic, but what's the best example of them not protecting Bray Wyatt? 2 weeks after Brock Lesnar obliterated Cena, what does John Cena do? He shows up on Raw and destroys the Wyatt family single-handedly. You're going to sit there and tell me that they couldn't have trotted out the Big Show and Kane to take that beating? Two guys that could have sustained that beating without their characters being hurt at all? You're taking 3 guys in Harper, Rowan, and Wyatt that whether you like them or not is irrelevant. They're young guys. You need to protect those guys. Bray Wyatt's first true defeat was at the hands of John Cena. And he was on the decline ever since. I'll give you an example of protecting a guy properly. And I'm not saying they're in the same class. Don't get me wrong. But The Undertaker's very first defeat on television was at the hands of Hulk Hogan. But it was not a clean victory. Hulk Hogan took the ashes out of the urn and threw them in the Taker's eyes and rolled him up. There was no boot and leg drop to finish that match because they protected The Undertaker. They protected him. I mean, what is so difficult in doing that? And now we get to fucking Kevin Owens, a guy who was making 6 figures on the independents, a guy who has delivered in every sense of the word since he has started in this company. Has delivered match quality, promo quality. He's selling merchandise like crazy. And my question is, what more do you want? And that's where anyone that tries to throw the merchandise and the 100% of the reaction argument at me when it comes to Cena, you just have no legs to stand on. Because CM Punk and Daniel Bryan always got 100% of the reaction, and they both sold amazing business. CM Punk went so far as to outsell Cena. Did anything change? No. Kevin Owens, who was the #1 merchandise seller last month. Guess what? Now you took Kevin Owens, who was different. And I actually was dumb enough. Yeah, I'm calling myself dumb. I was dumb enough to actually believe for a second that anything would be different. Why did I not see this coming? That Kevin Owens is just going to be another Bray Wyatt, another Ryback, another Ziggler, another Nexus who eats the AA, or in this case, they went above and beyond. They made him tap out. How the fuck does that make the company better? How the fuck does that...
You could look at it from the point like, oh, he just came up, so, he can't have everything handed to him. He's got to earn his way. But again, you could attack the guy. You could have him get himself disqualified.
Here's a crazy idea. Why not have Kevin Owens pass out in the hold to save face for his character? Or have Cesaro or Rusev interfere in the match to cost Owens the match? Why is it that only John Cena can be protected in defeat? I don't understand that. And that is why you have no new stars on his level.
He could get himself disqualified. While he's in the hold, he could punch the referee, get himself disqualified. They used to do it every time in the old days.
And one of the other things, I think I already talked to you about this before, James, is the reason they're not going to have Kevin Owens pass out is because the shades or the ghosts of Austin and Bret Hart will be echoed in such an event. But what also happened in Austin and Bret Hart, not only did Austin become face, Bret Hart became heel. And the one thing that this company will never do is turn John Cena heel for the same reasons you mentioned. Bye-bye merch sales. Because why make millions on many different superstars when you could just make it on one? I mean, that's how you get rich, right? Sarcasm.
I've never seen a company so stubbornly ignore their own fans and just basically tell us, fuck you fans, we're going to do whatever the hell we want. And I have learned my lesson. I never ever thought I'd reach this point as a fan, and it makes me sad. Because for how many months did I come on this show and talk about how excited I was for NXT? How excited I was for... Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I've been sick the last few days and I still have this cough.
Like I told you before, they single-handedly ruined that whole crop of NXT stars. Ruined. Neville, like we said before, ain't gonna amount to nothing. He's just a high flyer. He can't talk. He looks funny. Sami Zayn, he's a wrestler like Daniel Bryan. They're never gonna go with him. Hideo, he's Japanese. They never go with Japanese guys. And Finn Balor, he's the only guy left him. What are they gonna do with him?
It just, as a fan, it depresses me. As a fan of this business, it fucking depresses me. Because what is the fucking point in being excited for anybody from NXT when I know what the fuck is waiting for them, which is an AA? That's bullshit. I don't give a shit how anyone tries to fucking spin it. John Cena gained nothing from winning that match. Zero.
Business-wise, the only way I can look at it is WWE says, we've invested so much money and time into Cena, we're going to milk him until the last drop.
And when he leaves, who are you left with? A roster that is under the ground.
That is the one downside to that. I mean, you could honestly, okay, and here's the thing. I don't believe anybody, especially a living being, should be milked because, we all saw what happened with CM Punk, It just got to the point where his entire body was given out on him. And I don't wish that even on Cena. But let's look at this from a business standpoint. I have one guy that's making me millions, and I have the potential in 7 other guys to make hundreds of thousands at the same time, I'm going to also want to build those guys so that when my $1 million money maker does have to hang it up, I can easily move someone into that spot. When Austin was the top of the company and he got hurt, who took his place?
The Rock.
The Rock, who became one of the biggest goddamn superstars in the history of WWE. And when The Rock dropped the title, who was it to?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Brock Lesnar. Oh, well, okay, Stone Cold, but yeah, but I'm talking about it when Stone Cold wasn't there either. Next was Brock Lesnar. In that time, how many people held that title that were credible champions in the era of ruthless aggression, James?
I can tell you right now, from when the Undisputed title was introduced, Triple H, Hogan, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, The Big Show, Kurt Angle, and then after that crop of guys, Eddie Guerrero, and then JBL. I'm talking the Undisputed Championship belt, the one I'm pointing to right here.
The belt, yes, but also, I mean, you're just talking about the belt. I'm talking about everybody who was champion since then, like a big credible champion. You know what I mean? Before there was the belt, there was Chris Jericho. Remember that?
Oh, that's true.
You rephrase the question as who was a legitimate face of the company.
And that exactly is the problem. There was no such thing in the minds of the public of that. Because what mattered was who held the belt. That's what storytelling in this business should be, above all else. But now that that's not the case anymore, there's no compulsion of anything. There's no set goal in the story that WWE is trying to tell. There is no prize. There is no end game for any wrestler in this, and I'm not going to call him a sports entertainer for God's sake, any wrestler in this business. What is the goal? If there's no goal, if there's no objective, no end game, then there's no story. There's no reason to watch. There's no compulsion. Now, I know I'm taking it a little bit to the macro setting. I know I'm going away from the micro setting of John Cena into the macro picture. But I just wanted to point out that this is an overall problem with this booking in this business right now. It's like it's so far gone from the simplest fundamental of the storytelling of this business that it's just unless they put the brakes on this and really understand fundamentally what the problem is, yeah, nothing's going to get better. It really isn't. And like I said, John Cena is just a small... Well, I shouldn't say John Cena because I don't feel that way about the guy personally. I'm just going to say the John Cena booking is just a small part of that overall problem. That's just what I think.
I don't think it's a small part of the problem. I think it's a big problem because he has been the tool that has been utilized to dismantle a lot of guys that could be something. And honestly, Frank said it when we were off the air. Kevin Owens was the guy. You could build... Frank, how much could you build around Kevin Owens?
He was different. You could have gave him a run you could have gave him the U.S. belt and he could have held it for 6 months up until next year. And then have him lose. Then he can lose.
Yeah, instead of actually making his first defeat be at the hands of somebody who could benefit from it, why do that when we could just give it to the same guy we've been giving every monster heel to? Even when Daniel Bryan was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, who did they feed their biggest heel to? John Cena.
Yeah, this has been a pattern since 2007. Going back to Umaga versus Cena, they built up Umaga as an indestructible bulldog.
Well, in fairness to Cena, he was only 3 years into his run, so I expect them to do that.
No, but I know, but you see the pattern. Every year they have a guy they build up to Cena to destroy.
And to think the fact that he's going to be around for another 10 years makes me want to throw up.
I mean, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan were accidents. They weren't planned.
The same people who think that Bray Wyatt benefited from his feud with Cena are the same people who think that it was the plan from the start for Daniel Bryan to win the WWE title from SummerSlam 2013 all the way to WrestleMania 30. Even after Daniel Bryan has admitted in interviews he was never supposed to be in that match. What was he told by Vince McMahon, Larry?
Well, I like saying the plans for WrestleMania fans. I like your wrestle streams.
And the funny thing is, what makes me laugh just as much is You always get those people, oh, it's just the dirt sheets, this, that, the other thing. But when the dirt sheets are proven right, all those people are like second graders with their fingers over their mouth, not saying a fucking word.
Well, in Vince's defense, it came out in Daniel Bryan's book that Vince actually invented the S chant. So, but his problem was he was short-sighted into seeing how the fans really, really loved Daniel Bryan.
Well, we'll get into Bryan later on in our third segment, but overall, for this segment, it's frustration to the fucking max. Enough is enough.
And what have I been saying? That this whole Cena U.S. Open Challenge is the springboard for him to win the belt again.
And the funny thing is, there are people that actually have the balls to turn around and say that John Cena is Wrestler of the Year. I wasn't aware that false finishes and kicking out of each other's finishing maneuvers, which devalues the moves themselves, makes it a great match. Look at The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from the first Hell in a Cell match. I don't remember there being any kickouts in that match, except for maybe one or two. And that match will go down as one of the greatest, probably the greatest Hell in a Cell match of all time. Hell, their match from WrestleMania 25, which I consider the greatest match of all time, had maybe 3 moments in the match where you thought it might end. The first tombstone, the final sweet chin music, and the last tombstone that ended the match. Only 3 spots in that match I could think of that I thought, yeah, it's over.
Just 1 second. I mean, people say now, oh, is it always a coincidence that the best matches are with Cena on Raw? I mean, he does call the matches, but it's the booking that makes the match great.
Yeah, John Cena's matches gets 25 kickouts, and everybody else only gets 4 or 5. Of course, you're going to think that Cena's putting on the best matches of his career because he's being given.
Also, let's not underestimate his opponents as well. These are
yeah, of course. You know,
for at least a decade, including Cesaro.
You know what's funny? People that want to talk up Cesaro. How dare you? Cesaro's always been this fucking good. They're just deciding now to give him the ring time. But now you want to. Claudio Castagnoli's been putting on good matches for years, dummy.
Do you remember after WrestleMania when he won the Battle Royal, they told him doing the swing?
Yeah. I honestly, I really thought stupidly, I really thought that they were going to take that Andre the Giant Battle Royal that Cesaro won and really do something with that. In my ignorance, I really thought it's small, but at least Cesaro has something they can build off of him now. They give him a little bit of bragging right. That's cool. Maybe Cesaro can take that. No.
Why would they want to do that? That would actually make sense.
I kept telling James Cesaro should have challenged Daniel Bryan immediately after WrestleMania.
He was a viable opponent. He was more viable than Kane, who got beat by the Shield, who actually ate the pinfall. No, but why couldn't Daniel Bryan get a match with Bray Wyatt, who beat him clean?
Analyze that. Cesaro was had too much momentum, and what happened after WrestleMania? They told him to stop doing the swing, and they put Kane against Daniel Bryan.
And they put Cesaro, who was getting over, with the most hated manager in the business. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. A guy's getting hot, a guy's getting popular, and what do? You put him with the biggest bad guy manager in the business. Yeah, that's real fucking smart. And you want to know what it all is? At the end of the day, it's stupidity on their part and stupidity on our part for continuing. Because you want to know something? Am I a big fan of Kevin Owens? Yes. Do I have any faith that they're going to do anything meaningful with him? No. Because I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what's going to happen after Cena finally. First of all, now I really believe Cena's not going to drop the belt. I think it's going to wind up being a champion versus champion match. Against Seth Rollins.
Yep, that's the fear that I had.
Yeah, and then I think Cena will have both belts, and he'll drop the belt, the U.S. belt.
So basically, if John Cena wins the WWE title at SummerSlam and then relinquishes the U.S. title, basically takes everything he did for that belt, everything he did, and throws it right back into the trash. Because why would I want this meaningless piece of shit when I could have the world title?
Right, and then all the guys that lost him are going to fight over the scraps.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you accomplishing? Hang on, fellas. And what are you accomplishing by doing shit like that? You're trying to further John Cena, who has been on top for 10 fucking years. 10 fucking years. And it's not enough. This guy could win the world title 20 times. And certain people, and you know who I'm talking to, dumbass, it'll never be enough.
And you saw the writing on the wall Monday.
They fucking sent Kevin Owens out there to help break up the fight between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. You didn't see Roman Reigns out there, did you? You didn't see Dean Ambrose or John Cena, Randy Orton, or Sheamus. No, but they fucking made sure Kevin Owens was out there, didn't they?
No, I was talking about the promo between Rollins and Cena when he told him, if the belt doesn't make the man that makes the belt.
When I look at John Cena, I want to throw up. He is a piece of shit.
And you want to talk about another thing again, Barry, about Seth Rollins. What has he done since he won the belt?
Run away. And on that note, we're ending this segment, and we'll be back with part 2.